Hello and welcome to Uncovered, the podcast with your host, Jason Irving. Join me in a journey to understand what's truly happening in your world and the world around you. This is not about how you're living life on the surface. It's about what's truly driving you from under the covers. I'm going to take you on a journey to deeply uncover the reason why you are here, the ultimate purpose in your problems and the way that they have shaped your life up until now. See, I believe you have a purpose, and your problems are the highway towards ultimate realization of that journey towards freedom and the reconnection of your true self. I've been told I have a different spin on most things, and I'll be giving you my understanding of life, love, and what we're all here for, purpose. To get the best out of this podcast, drop what you already know so you can discover what's beyond you. So join me, let's play this game of life and bring on liberation, transformation, and change. Let's do this.
Hey Jason, how are you today?
Very well, and how are you?
I'm good, thanks. So we're going to talk about passion now after we've talked about anger.
Yeah, so passion is a mix of anger and fear. Mm-hmm. So it's the flavour that wins over those two emotions. So it's the energy that actually makes you feel like you can do anything.
Oh, that's great.
And you have the conviction, mm-hmm. right, and the confidence in your voice, and you're standing for something, right? So passionate people have this tone in their voice.
Yeah, you can hear that.
You know, and you hear that tone, you go, oh my God, I really want to listen to this person. I really want to make sure I take it all in. And they've got this thing that makes you entranced in what they've got to say. So all the really magnetic influences have passion running through their veins. Mm-hmm. They have this capacity to lift up a room and make everyone want to sing the same note that they're singing. It gives people hope, gives people courage, mm-hmm. It gives people a want to actually strive for something better. And the coolest thing about passion is it has two of the most important influence-based emotions behind it, anger and fear. So fear makes us make decisions or keeps us stuck. Mm-hmm. Anger can be brutal or it can make you build. Mm-hmm. So when you have them combining, it actually brings this sense of really strong connection to what really matters in your life. Mm-hmm. So if you think about, people who someone is really passionate and someone calls them out and says, you're an idiot, naturally they can get really cranky. Mm-hmm. Or they get frightened and go, oh, maybe they're right.
Maybe I'm just talking.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So it really comes down to the type of person that the person is influentially on the inside of what they would do if they were called out. So a passionate person will stand for you if they've got you. If they're in your corner or you're in their corner, a passionate person has the loyalty and the conviction to stand up for their own beliefs, and they'll stand for other people. And if they're really integral, they'll always do the right thing. Mm-hmm. So passion is what is going to get you over the line in the hard times. So it's the influencer. It gets the best out of the anger, gets the best out of the fear, and creates this amazing thing called magnetism.
Amazing. I think that's a very interesting way to look at passion as well. I guess when you hear the word passion, you probably think about more like in a sexual way. At least that's what the first thing that I think of.
Well, maybe
society.
Yeah.
Just like when you hear like someone's really passionate and stuff. That's often said in that context. But I like the way that you explain that, how it is those two emotions combined. My question would be like, how either of those emotions can be quite overwhelming, and that for some people, like they could be really fearful or really angry. Like, how do you find this like healthy middle to create that passion to move forward in your life?
Well, look, let's pull it back to sex to start off with. Is if you look at all the movies that are passionate, they're not, hey, are you okay? Do you mind if I just give you a little kiss? Are they?
No.
They're pretty like animalistic in their nature. It's like, I am going to kiss you and you're going to kiss me back, right?
Yeah.
So
They're just like,
it's a force of nature, right? Which is what this is all about. So how do we find that middle so it's not rape? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that's what we've got to learn to be able to do, is get that middle ground. So if it's too much anger, it's rape. If it's passion, it's beautiful and it's intense and it's exciting, right? And if it's way too on the other side, it's too timid. So how do we get that balance? Well, I think what we've got to learn to be able to do is train ourselves to work with the individual emotions first. So anger and fear, acclimatise to them, and then have a cause that matters. Right? So if our only cause is having great sex, then it doesn't go very far.
No.
Right? It just lasts in the bedroom for however long we last. Right? So we could be a 5-minute one or to an hour or two. It doesn't really matter. The thing that we've got to do is we've got to place that passion with our purpose. And if we have a purpose that's beyond instant gratification, which is what passion can be when it comes to sex, it's like that gratification that we get. Because when the sex is over, it's just like, oh, you know what I mean?
It's over,
like,
yeah.
it's over.
The passion is gone.
It goes. But if it's placed somewhere that has a really deep purpose that matters beyond you, that it's a cause-based passion, then it actually can turn into a legacy. So it needs to be placed again in a really strong direction. And when it's placed there, you're standing for something that no matter what happens in your world, your passion will get you up and move. There have been days where I had this actually yesterday where I just didn't want to get up. I didn't want to get up for the day, and I was just like, I've got so much on and I just don't want to do any of it. And you know what I'm like?
You just do it anyway.
I just do it anyway. And it's the passion in my heart that actually starts to drive me forward when I'm having those days which we all have, where we just don't want to get out of bed because it all feels too hard. So I wanted to crawl into a ball yesterday, simply because I run our techniques. I just accept that that's what I wanted to be and do. And then the passion of what really matters and what I'm here for and what I'm here to do. So I'm really passionate about helping people liberate their lives towards freedom. That's my passion. So if people want to sing that note with me, they will. Right? And people who don't, they can find it difficult to be with a passionate person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's because it can be intimidating, because you then represent all this, push and drive and like going towards something. And when you're just someone who's just like, I'm just gonna, live day by day. Like, I mean, obviously it is important to also enjoy the present moment, but like somebody who has no vision and no direction whatsoever, like when I felt this way, I always found it like really difficult to be around you, to be honest. So because because you were just you would just represent that, and I would just be aware of like how little direction I actually felt at that stage. So
that's a really good point to open up to, Philia. Is it, if you are a day-by-day person and you don't have a plan for your future, passion is dying inside of you, because all you'll be is passionate for a certain thing that's happening for the day, or you'll stand for something and you'll have this thing that you stand for, and then it just disappears and peters out. But to have passion long term,
and that stays, because you've got something bigger than just you, like you've got something big that you're working towards in the future, like, and it's for you and it's for everyone as well.
So just as an example, we opened you up last week or the week before, and we quite often try and find a word that resonates, that you're here for, and you found fulfillment. And then you were like, oh my God, that is what I do, that's what makes me tick. And then you realise that if I create a life of fulfillment, which is you to improve things, that's what you're here to do, which is cultivate, improve and make things better. If you're fulfilling yourself with someone like me who has a really strong visional based purpose, then you will actually fulfill what you do. And you'll be passionate about the cause that I'm in, because it makes sense for you because of what I'm doing, and it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So then you go, okay, I've done this and this and this and this and this, and I sit there and go, oh my God, she's so organised and so capable. My weakest links of being organised you fulfill, and you've got that passion to help support that creative vision that I have, right? And so my passion has, if you didn't have something to see towards, then you'd be like, oh, well, I'm not really sure where I'm meant to go. So sometimes we need someone who has that visionary drive to draw behind, so then you can actually end up having that passion that actually makes sense, because you want to help people, you want to make things better, but you're a bit frightened of actually exposing yourself in the front of the room, so you like to be in the back of the room.
Yeah.
Right? So that doesn't mean you don't have passion. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
So we have to know where our passion lies and the type of people that we are, so then we can actually fulfill our magic. And then once we fulfill who we are, the way that we're in flow, and we've got a passionate driver towards a future that we want to have, then it's much easier for us to live a really strong life. And passionate people don't leave anything to chance. Right, they're looking at their tombstone and they're saying, I did everything I could. Right? So that's what we all need, is to have that passion. And the cool thing is it draws on these two emotions that people call bad. You got to think rationally, guys. Passionate people, you call them out, they get angry. Or they want to really be liked, they go, oh, did I offend you? And they try and backtrack.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Two types.
Yeah.
They got fear or anger, one on either side. So we want to have that really strong balance to actually make sure that we can use equilibrium with our understanding around passion and what we're passionate about. Because sometimes people can be passionate about the pain.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people who like to talk about their pain a lot, and they're very passionate about it as well. And
they say, well, because of my pain, I can't do this, Jason. I'm like, well, let's change how you look at your passion, because you're going to be stuck with pain for the rest of your life. And so people who are passionate about their excuses get nowhere. Justifications around why they can't and why the world is the way it is. You know, blaming the governments passionately without doing a single thing in your life is a waste. Right? So I don't take notice of what's happening in the world too much. I focus passionately about my world, so I can be a contributor of the world. But I don't want to buy into what people are stuck with. I've got too much to do. Right? I'm passionate about helping people liberate their lives. I'm not passionate about, okay, this is wrong, and I need to stand for this cause, because I'm actually spending too much time talking about something and not doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so passion is the action taker, not the talker, really.
Yeah. So you have to have follow through, otherwise your passion is deaf. Right? So you've got to say, okay, well, if I'm looking at a passionate person, I'm wanting to know, well, what's behind them? Are they living the life that they're passionate about? And if they're in cognition, I want to hear what they got to say. Right, so as an example, like I'm I'm highly intuitive. I'm passionate about helping people become highly intuitive. But what's more important is I want people to be taking action on their intuition, because intuition is stupid if you don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time. Right, so I'm passionate about people getting understanding, reinventing their life, and practicing on repetition so they can actually build the life that they want. But if they just gain understanding, they've got a concept with no action. And this is what a lot of people do in this world. They have a passion, but they don't have the force behind them to stand up for what they're passionate about, so they just talk about it. Now, most people in the world are very, very smart information gatherers, and then there's the few who are very, very smart information gatherers who implement life. They're the wise people in this world.
They're the ones you want to listen to, like you.
Yeah, well, it's for other people to you know me, you know what I do, but for people who are listening, I don't expect you to trust what I've got to say, because you may not know how I live my life, right? So the first thing you do when you hear someone who's passionately talking, are they being real? Get get a background check, find out to see if they're actually, they're backing up their words with their voice. Otherwise, you can get really disappointed. I've been on programs with people who don't back up their voice. I'm like, oh, this wasn't anything that they were saying. And that's not what people are saying about my academy or our academy. I don't look at it as mine. I look at it as the team's academy. And I know that, people start feeling really passionate about the work that we're doing because they see me living it. Well, I want to live that too. So, guys, you need to have something to be passionate about, otherwise there's nothing. So being in the present is not going to get you towards your future. It's just going to be being in the present. So have a plan, have a purpose, have a direction, and then you'll be able to live a passionate, creative life for the rest of it.
Great. Thank you so much for this.
Absolute pleasure, Philia. And if you like this podcast and you would like to see us, our website is www.wellnessbreakthroughacademypodcast.com. I'd love it if you could like it and share this podcast to someone who needs that passion, who's missing it, just knowing the two key emotions that help drive it. And share this as much as you can. If you like this, comment on it as well. I'd love to know your thoughts. Thanks so much.
Thank you.